Great. Well, thanks all to be here. Thanks BIM Coordinators Summit to invite me for the second year. I'm Pedro Pascual. I'm the digital director. I'm going to talk about data governance from the client side. Who I am, a little bit about me. I'm architect. My background is architectural. Have some certification from BRE, from RICS, and also I hold a master's from the Middlesex University about BIM project management. My career, I have more than 10 years of professional career. The last of my jobs was digital design manager in London from Chapman. I was the head of digital solutions in Worley, worldwide. And then I was involved in Yonda Side, a client, an owner operator, as a EMEA digital delivery manager. And now I'm digital director for Quark. About Quark. Quark is a design company based in Spain, focusing data centers. Now the way we have in the data centers in the market. So we are the leaders in Spain and Portugal, the first company in the Iberia, and also one of the 20th worldwide. A little bit of figures about data centers and the company. We have more than 750 megawatts IT power. We increased our staff by 3 in the last 2 years. So 2 years ago, we were like 15 people. Now we are 77. So that shows how the wave of data centers is the market now. We are, as I said, we're working in Iberia, and now we are doing an international expansion. Thanks because Sener Group bought us. So 4 months ago, 5 months ago, we belong to Sener Group, that is an international Spanish company. With them, we're going to go internationally. Well, data governance. What is data governance? To understand what is data governance, we have 4 questions that we need to answer to understand the meaning of. The first one, what is data governance? Data governance is the principal approach to managing data during the life cycle of the asset, from the conception to the handover. And this is really important to understand why the data governance has to be used. Why is because data drives the assets, and there are a lot of data inconsistency through the life cycle, and that produces failures in the operations of the asset. That is the final target of any asset. How do we use it? I will present a couple of slides about standards, processes, guidelines, or how to use this data to achieve our target. And from the client side which is the target for our client? The client is not involved in design, construction normally, so he's involved normally in operations. The operator of the asset is the most important thing for them in terms of OPEX and CAPEX, because it will be about 80% of the cost of the asset. So the client needs to understand that which is his target and which is the reason why he needs to be involved in data governance to increase the revenue and reduce the cost in CAPEX and OPEX. Data governance involves 2 things, data and metadata. We need to understand the meaning of both things because together produce the life cycle of the governance. Data is the definition of raw organization facts, and metadata is the data about data. This is quite complicated to understand because if data is unorganized, why data of data is metadata? But together we produce the amount of information that everybody needs to achieve their targets. The information and the process of the data can be informative or process or not, but the metadata is always. That will give us the information, the correct information to understand which is the element of the information of it. Couple of examples. Imagine cities or imagine targets. We need to connect all of that points. That points are the data and structure. We don't know how to connect each other. We don't know which is the meaning. Sorry. We don't know the information on the process of each element. But if we connect with metadata, we know the lines that will connect together, and we understand how we can achieve our target between all the points. Better example, focusing elements. All this equipment. For us, data is mechanical equipment, electrical equipment, air handling unit or fan coil. But which is the metadata of those elements? For us right now, this is a box with some detail, but we don't know which is the information, which is the metadata of it. Sorry. So all the specs, all the information that we have, that is the metadata. And that will belong to the element, to the box, and will help us to understand which is a box that we are reading in a paper, we are reading in a 3D model, or we are checking the data. Some figures about the data owners, the clients, and the data governance. Some of the research I've done for the FME comparison tell us that 96% of the AECO industry goes with data and use. They produce data, but they don't use it. And this is really important. 90% of those companies confirm that the data generated is unstructured. So that means that we will not use it. We will not know how to use that 90% of the data. So that means what we are paying, our cost of the 100% of the data, it will be useless, and we will use only 10%. From those companies, they told us that 13% of the working hours is for the project and to understand the data and the information. So we are going to increase our cost because people will have to increase the time on checking the data because it's unstructured. And also the 30% of the companies don't integrate the information or the data between the different teams or the different, as mentioned before, the different companies from the main brand. And that is a really problem for the client, for the owners, because they will increase the cost and will reduce the revenue. Some more figures that are incredible in the market. Based in SailPoint and RapidMiner, that a couple of research mentioned that companies that they don't have the data located. So as Hamani shows, they use CDE as ACC, and other companies can use another CDE, but they don't talk together. So that means that the connection between the data will be reduced, so the data will be unstructured. 99 of those companies share that they have challenge in the managing of the unstructured data. 76% of those companies mentioned that the structured data produce issues between the teams, and 60%, this is a really good figure, mentioned that managers taking decisions with unstructured data. So that means that those managers are taking decisions based on the project with data that is not correct. If you have seen last year's presentation from this stage as well, I proposed this pyramid of data, information, knowledge, and wisdom based on the strategy of information management that the clients have been involved. And after this pyramid, I started to research on how we can improve this pyramid and how we can improve the data and the structure to operate and interoperate the information. So I started to research, I started to read articles in journals, and I found one of the research for a corporation, FMI, that it says that there are more than 70 gaps of information and data in the life cycle of any project. This is a huge amount of gaps between the data that everybody produces and between all the stakeholders that creating data and metadata. I don't have time to be focusing all of them, but I'm gonna take three as the most important from my point of view. The first one is the sorry, do you wanna? The first one, okay, I'm gonna talk from me. The first one is the governance of gaps. So there is a huge gap of the governance of data. What that means, that people creating data, people custodying the data, people identifying the data, there are gaps between them to unify and structure the data. So that means that at the end of the life cycle, we will have data and structure that won't be used. The second important gap is the master data gaps in terms of management. Companies and teams don't manage properly the data, and it will be duplicated data, as many models we have right now can be duplicated. We have inconsistent data entry as a rules. If we are developing some automation or that we can incorporate data in the models or in the elements, can be inconsistent, and then we have unclear system data definition. So that means that the information we have or the data we are adding is not defined. And the third one is the metadata. The data of the data. And this is the huge gap from my point of view in terms of data analysis and data governance, because the repositories are difficult to access in many companies. The information on the data is difficult to use, and then we don't have applications, or we don't have repository correctly to understand how the data works and how the data is connected. So after these gaps, reading and thinking about how to improve the pyramid that I show you, I create an evolution, and I put a step below the one I thought that was the foundation, that was the specification of the data. And I create three main strategies for the clients in terms of processes that they have to produce, the process they have to create, standards, procedures, guidelines, digital alignments between different departments in the owner side, even a global strategy to go to the first level now, that is the specification of the data, to increase the pyramid. The second one is the people. Management into the people, engagement and capabilities will be really, really important for the client side to understand what they want in terms of data, or information, or BIM, because if the client understands what they want, they will be able to provide to the stakeholders the information they need to be required. And the third one is the technology. Create a technology, use the new tendencies in artificial intelligence, machine learning, automation that will help the client and the owner to create proper data for the life cycle. Applied to that strategy in the pyramid, this is an example, theoretical example of any project in the life cycle based on the RIBA stages. So we're coming from the strategy definition, concept design, detail design, until the handover of the use. Right now, many projects have silos between the different stages. So that produces these databases in the middle or the data warehouses in the bottom are not working because the different stakeholders, they are not sharing information. With this kind of strategy, we'll be able to create all the data, create the governance of the data, and be able to share the information between all the stakeholders as, as Himani mentioned, that they have 6,000 of contracts, many companies, many models. So if the life cycle and the workflow of data information and data governance is produced, we will be able to reduce the data structure and be able to use that proper data in the operations and maintenance. Many of you have seen this picture about the Lego, the data blocks Lego that is sharing all the networkings in terms of unstructured data, sorted data, arranged data, and visualization data. I took this as a basement, and I was thinking how to propose this strategy of data, but from people that don't have this technical experience as we have. So I proposed a different explanation. After my daughter turned 3 years, I started to read books with her. So I read a book with her that is the Color Monster Moral. I don't know if some of you know this book. This book is a proposal moral for kids, where they explain to the kids how to divide the feelings, because right now, with 2 years, 3 years, they have all the feelings together and they don't know how to split them. So I was thinking, we can use this to explain the adults how to split the information and why is the reason. So this model talks about all the feelings together. So I'm thinking all the data and structure together. So owners don't know how to work with that. So the model tells the kids that they have to split the feelings and put it in buckets or put it in containers. So this is the strategy for the clients to organize the data, create a strategy to split the unstructured data, and create a data governance. After that, we have the different buckets for the kids, so the different buckets for the feelings, or the different buckets for the strategy of the information. So the different colors are about the different feelings. And for us, in the data structure, that means that we will define all the structured data for the future in the use of the asset. After this, I was thinking a reflection similar to my colleagues Fred and Himari about phrases that we can think or we remember after a presentation. And one is if the kids understands that they can split the feelings and they can understand that which is the fears, which is the different happiness, calmness, sadness, scaredness. Why adults don't understand that they have to structure the data for the projects where they are the owners. And this is a reflection, I'm thinking, why kids understand this and why adults don't. And the last one is another reflection I heard a while ago from Ralph, I think it was last year, that is, who owns data owns the power. And that is the most powerful thing we have. So we have the data, we have the power. And that's it. Thank you very much.